Welcome to Authors Revealed. I'm Becky Anderson. I am so excited. We have one of our youngest published authors and an author that's published by Source Books right here in Naperville. It's Ravina Thakkar and her book, The Adventure of a Lifetime. Well, Ravina, welcome to Anderson's in Naperville.
Thank you for having me be here.
Oh my gosh, this is a thrill for us to have you
It's
here.
a thrill for me too. I'm really nervous actually.
Oh, no need to be nervous. You know all these answers, so this will be an easy thing. So I just want to tell you congratulations on the publication of your first book. Debut author.
Yeah.
This is so exciting.
I didn't think of it at this young age. I thought like if I was ever going to be a published author, it'd be at least 20 or something.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, and I think this is a record for. I've done a lot of these interviews, and I think you're a record for the youngest published author, a book on bookstore shelves all over the country. So this is so cool for you. So, The Adventure of a Lifetime. Yeah. How does it feel to have this book out in the world now? Because it came out on your birthday, right?
Day before actually.
Day before your birthday.
I was still 13.
13 technically, right? But now you're you're 14, just a few days over 14, right? Yeah. Well, happy birthday, by the way.
Well, it feels great actually. Like I'm really scared as to what people will think, of course, because I actually wrote this when I was 8, so it's not my writing today.
Right.
And like, I think this book is actually like it's like a progressive. It's my progress all in one book because I wrote it when I was 8, but then I edited it over like the span of 2 years. Like when I was 11, it started editing and revising. Right. So I think it's really it's my writing as in like progressively getting better and yeah.
Right, and going through that revision process and that editing process and everything too.
Really. People say they don't like that, like most writers say that they don't like that, but I actually really enjoyed it because I really like my editor's suggestions. They were really smart about it.
Good. Yeah. Well, I talk to a lot of authors, and they think that the editing process, that's where they think they really get their story down, especially when they're talking about fiction, that they going back through and editing and redoing and redo it, and that's where they think that they kind of take it down to the essence of what they really want to say.
Yeah, because it's like fresh pair of eyes looking at your writing. Sure. Like when I look at it, it's really hard to find something that somebody else would because I'm so accustomed to reading it.
Right. So in a way, you're channeling by the publication of this book that middle grade self that you had. So so basically, you're kind of giving a wonderful book for that middle grade reader. That 8, 9, 10-year-old, which is what you were writing for at that time. Was a reader like yourself at the time, right? Yeah. Right. That's really exciting. So you are an 8th grader now, and what middle school do you go to in Plainfield?
I go to Heritage Grove Middle School.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know exactly where that school is. So what are all your teachers, your friends at school? What is everybody saying? This must be so cool for you.
They've actually been really supportive. One of my friends thinks this is going to be like the most cliche book ever because of the title. So she's always like, "Oh, Ravina, how could you write this? This is so cliche." Like she's making fun of me this whole time. But then the rest of my class and all my friends and all my teachers even are really, really supportive. Yeah. A bunch of them are coming to the signing today, actually.
Fantastic. So this is really cool. So this book, having come out, the day before your birthday and all that, but tell us, where did the spark come, the origin? When you were, you wrote it when you were, and I know you won an award for this when you were 11. Is that? Oh, was it a different contest that you did? I want to hear about that too. But where did the spark come? Where did the idea, that little germ that got The Adventure of a Lifetime going for you?
I don't actually even know because the thing is, I wrote the first line. And the funny thing is, that's what remained consistent throughout this whole editorial process. That first line, I don't come up with ideas as much as I come up with hooks.
Sure.
And I just branch off of that. I'm not big on planning, which I know is probably a flaw, but
No. I think that's more exciting because I talk to a lot of authors that way, and you always ask them, do you do strict outlines and do you stay to the outline?
No, I'm surprised as to what I wrote. Like, oh wait, that happened.
Yeah, but see, I think that's more exciting for the reader too, because you're excited when you're writing it, and this book is full of so much action and adventure. Yeah. So you can tell that it came to you just like it would happen if it really occurred. So yeah, that's really cool. So what is your earliest memory of wanting to be a writer? And do you remember that first story maybe that you wrote?
I was in first grade actually, and we had free time a lot, and so that's when we would write like whatever we wanted to. I actually have a notebook back home that has all my stories in there. I can't even remember, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't say it anyway because it's probably going to be really embarrassing.
No. I think so many authors, that's what I think is so cool. You talk to famous authors, and especially authors that go and do school events. And we've had some authors over at Heritage Grove and some schools.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it? Paulini, the author of Aragon.
Christopher Paolini came to your school. And he loves to talk about those early stories that he wrote. And so many like to bring the actual words, or if they're an illustrator, they like to show those early illustrations that they drew maybe when they were 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, he told us like he dug a ditch or something when he was 16 because he was so bored. I think he was homeschooled, I think.
Yes, he was, right.
So he finished his schoolwork, and then he got so bored that he actually dug a ditch, and then he started writing. And I've actually never read the Aragon series, so I don't know much about it. But
well, you have him beat on being a younger author, I'll tell you that, than he was, which is really, really cool. So tell me a little about the main character in The Adventure of a Lifetime, Betty Hilmar, and she's 9 years old. So basically, you were kind of. I just want to know who is she based on? Was it a little bit of you?
Probably a little bit of me, yeah.
And any of your friends or anything?
It was probably mostly me at the time.
Okay.
I don't think it was anybody else.
Okay. And the series she's reading, Amber the Brave. Was there a series at the time that you were reading that really? Or any type of series that you were so into that maybe, you created this Amber the Brave kind of series that she gets into?
I can't actually remember that, but I think when I was younger, I think I also wanted an adventure because seeing what the people in the books did, that was so cool. It was so I think I wanted an adventure at the time.
Sure.
So I wrote this, and then slowly it didn't become about the adventure as much as it was about Amber and Betty's clash in personality and how they had to get her back home. And it was just about her learning that her life was really okay.
Right. Well, and I like that the aspect of the story was so good that you show that being a superhero it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
And being a sidekick, but also too, I think that Betty kind of proved that she's kind of a hero herself too.
Yeah, in a way.
And you can be a hero in your whole own life, which is I think the best part of this book and what it shows. So
definitely learned some things through the course of the book, and then. It's just...
Yeah, so I was blown away that you write this when you're 9.
8.
Oh my gosh, 8. But the maturity and the depth that you put into this story is pretty phenomenal.
Well, the thing is, I wrote it when I was 8, but then we actually found source books when I was 11, and they accepted my manuscript. So I got to work with a bunch, 2 editors actually, and they helped me figure out the plot holes in there. And my first editor actually suggested that there's no character that's just irrelevant to the story. Every character has a specific role in it. Yeah. And I had a bunch of irrelevant characters at the time, so I found a way to make them all intertwined. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. So the evil characters in this. Okay, so Betty and Amber are battling some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And there's so it's dragons, it's other sorts of evil. But I really like it's Dr. Sly.
Yeah.
So tell me where Dr. Sly comes from. Very good character.
He's just the stereotypical villain. He's kind of just trying to defeat them for kind of no purpose. I don't even remember why. Why he's trying. He's trying to get to the portal of the future, which would obviously take you to the future. Yeah. And so he thinks he wants world domination, as most villains do, obviously. Yeah. And so it's kind of a race between him and Betty and Amber, and I would like to say they both start at the same point, and it's kind of they don't actually meet up until the end of the book, which is when they finally battle each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me this, that when you had the editors and having written it when you're 8 years old and you're seeing how it, and then working on it when you're 11 with some editors at a major publisher, did major aspects of the story come, or did it just tighten the story and work out some of the kinks of it?
I think major aspects did kind of change up because, as I said before, there were some irrelevant characters that I found a way to tie back into the plot. So that was what my first editor helped me with, the major plot holes in the story. Sure. And then my second editor helped me with more of the grammatical, or if there was a repetition in words or some stuff like that. And
so it's like a copy editor working with.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But he offered a lot more suggestions than that. I just can't remember them right now.
Okay, was it Steve Geck you were with?
Yeah.
Oh, he's such a. I've known Steve for years and
I
years.
met him actually. It was so cool.
Oh yeah, he is a great guy, and he really knows his stuff. So
Yeah.
he's edited some major children's authors over the years. So that's really cool. You got to work with him. So have your parents always been supportive of your writing?
Definitely, yeah. My mom, she would always I would type something up and it would just be like one measly paragraph, but I'd go and show her with so much excitement and she'd read it. And then she'd kind of encourage me to write more and just, yeah.
So I want you to give us a tip. How can we encourage other parents to encourage their kids to write and to read? I mean, you got to read. I think to be a good writer, you have to read.
Reader,
You
yeah.
got to be a good reader.
Yeah, definitely.
So what would you suggest to parents, like what your parents did for you? Because I think we need to give that lesson to more parents.
Oh, well, whenever I would want to talk about my writing, my parents would always listen to me. I could ramble on about stories for so long, and they would always listen to me, and they listen to me talk about my favorite books and my writing at the time, and they were just there, and they took time out of their day to kind of be supportive of what I do.
So being a good listener and just being supportive of that sort of thing is key. Yeah, right. So you won your first contest, your writing contest, when you were 11. Tell us a little about that and what you wrote to win that contest.
I wrote What It Took to Teach Mr. Beige at the Plainfield Public Library contest.
Okay.
It was basically about this old man who went on a cruise, just kind of enjoy life before he died. And on the cruise, he actually went overboard. But then he got rescued in some magical way that I didn't write about.
Right. Yeah.
And so he just kind of realized that he had a second chance at life at that point, and that's when I left off on it.
Oh wow. Well, that must have been really cool to win that contest.
Yeah, that was really it was really encouraging.
Yeah.
So you know that you're doing something and what you love, that it's clicking.
Yeah, I'm doing it right.
Right. No, that's really cool. So that contest that you won got the attention of the Illinois Make-A-Wish Foundation, I think, didn't it? Or how did that work out that you got the attention of that?
Actually, my social worker at my hospital that I go to, she said, "Can I put your name down for the Make-A-Wish Foundation because I have a terminal illness called cystic fibrosis?"
Right.
And so we did that. We didn't think of anything big. She gave me a packet to write down potential wishes in, and my first wish was actually to meet J.K. Rowling.
Oh,
She doesn't work with the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
we got to get her to do that.
And so then my second wish was obviously to be a published author.
yeah.
And I think the Make-A-Wish grantors that I have, Patty and Cindy, they were actually really surprised by the wish because obviously a lot of people wish for Disney World or something along those lines. And that's a quick vacation that you can get in and get out of. But this was 5 years, either 4 or 5 years in the making that they had to take, and they've been really supportive of that.
But this is your passion. I think this is what you want to. I think you want to do this for a career.
Right.
Yeah.
And you want to study this. Probably when you get to taking coursework in high school and then college and everything. I'm sure about that. So tell us about Source Books is located right here in Naperville, which we're so proud to have this nationally and internationally known publisher right here in Naperville. Tell us about working with them and getting a tour of the publisher and then everything that happened working with a major publisher.
That was actually pretty amazing because I know a lot of authors don't get to meet their publisher, but I actually got the chance to, and everyone was just so inviting, and they helped show me around, and they told me what all their jobs were, and I didn't quite know a lot about the publishing process at that point. I didn't think it'd take this long, actually. But people were just Todd Stocky.
Oh,
Yeah,
Todd's great.
he gave me this whole PowerPoint on how my book was going to be published, and then my first editor, Kelly Burrell Saylor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I met Kelly. Yeah.
She then helped me with the plot holes of the story, and we went back and forth for a while, and then she left Source Books, I think, which was when I met with Steve Geck.
Yeah.
And then we went back and forth too, of course. And then once that finished, though, once I sent my revisions in, I was kind of kicked out of this whole group that they had going on. And so, but then Jillian Bergsman, I think was her name, she came and she gave me the final revisions. This is your last chance. So I finished those. And then I was really, really kicked out because like then it was just cover design,
Right,
and
right.
authors don't have much input on that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did you have anything? I love the cover on it.
Yeah.
How do you like the cover?
I actually like it. Like at first it was a bit surprising because actually Betty is actually 8, and in here she looks like she's 14.
Yeah, she looks older in
Yeah,
this,
she's
and then
not-
she's,
not that age. But I do like the background. The color actually really pops.
Yeah, and the books and everything, because this is so about books and loving books, so, right. So working on all of this and seeing it finally, when did you get a chance? How long ago did you see the final cover and the book itself?
That was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, oh, it's first time. Oh my
That was when I
gosh.
first saw like the printed book. Actually, Sourcebooks was not the one to tell me about the release date of my book.
Right.
So my cousin was searching me up, and he found the release date, and he told me about my own release date, which was kind of funny.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
so
yeah.
it was cool though.
So, think about school. And, we place many authors in school events, like you saw Christopher Paolini and all that sort of thing. Have you thought about doing it? Because you would be such an inspiration to get kids interested in writing and reading. Have you thought about doing any of that?
Maybe at elementary school, but I'm not really good in front of crowds actually.
Oh, I think you'd be wonderful. You're not giving yourself enough credit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what my mom says too. I just get really, really nervous. Actually, a couple of days ago, I went to Freedom Elementary, which was my old school,
Right.
to read part of the book to them.
Mm-hmm.
And one girl actually came up to me and said she'd buy it at the end, so it was like success. Woo.
Well, if you're ever interested, we would love to do some school events with you. And I think the more you do it, you'll get more comfortable.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
you're doing great right here. So I think we need to get you into, because you would be such an inspiration for other kids. I think it would be great. So, it's so obvious that you have not let your cystic fibrosis, define you and so, but how do you think it has tied in for you developing your talent and writing? Has it been, I think you seem very mature for your
Yeah.
age, but I mean, and so I'm just wondering, how is your illness defined how you've become as a writer?
Well, actually, I do 3 treatments a day, and they all take like an hour and a half or so.
Right.
So during that time, I always needed something to keep me occupied.
Mm-hmm.
And at a certain point in my life, I discovered writing as a way. So then from then on, it was just kind of like typing up tiny
Yeah,
stories
right.
everywhere. Like it didn't even mean anything. It just kept me busy at the time. But
Sure.
I think that was what really pushed me to consider this as a potential career goal.
Right. That's so cool. So have you ever thought about writing a novel? Because now that you're 14, I can see you writing a young adult novel that maybe features a main character that has a serious illness. I think you would have such a perspective to think about. When I think of John Green.
Yeah, I was just looking
you
at
think
that.
about that book.
That was
you know?
I cried.
Yeah, well, that book does make you cry. But I would think you would be fabulous in writing a book that has a character like that.
I've definitely never considered like an illness-based character, but yeah, John Green is really an inspiration. Like I've always wanted to write. Now that I've started reading all these different kind of books,
Yeah.
I do want to write a realistic fiction book.
Sure, right.
Because back then I was reading adventure fiction, so
Sure.
I wanted to write an adventure fiction book. Now I've kind of grown up to this kind of
To
stuff.
read more contemporary, realistic
Yeah.
fiction. Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
So, there's 2 stories I see in everything you've done here. You have this wonderful adventure book, this great middle grade novel that kids, in elementary school are going to absolutely love. But also, too, there's the other side of this story, and the story about you and what's inspired you to write and, what you're dealing with. So what do you hope people will get from this story? Just the story of the book, but also the story of you.
Well, I think from the story of me, it's kind of just inspirational. Like you can be whatever you want, and age is not a defining matter at all. Like if you want to do something, then go ahead and do it. You don't have restrictions. And then the book, Betty actually wants this whole adventure, but at the time when she actually goes through it, she learns that it's not really what she thought it'd be. So it's kind of like the grass isn't greener on the other side,
Sure.
kind of moral. So.
Yeah.
So have you thought about high school? Because it's coming up.
Soon.
That's scary. I don't want to go to high school.
Oh, you're going to do great. But have you thought about some of the classes you want to take, and then eventually what you think you might want to major in college?
High school wise, I'm not sure because we haven't actually gotten like our
Courses, yeah.
So
Right.
that's in January,
Yeah.
but I don't know much about it. I don't have like any older siblings or anything.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
And then the thing is, for college, I would like to major in English and potentially become an editor if there's like, if I can't make it as a writer, because I know that's a very, that's not a job that can provide like a stable income at times if you can't sell your book very well. So if nothing else, I would like to be in the same field as that. So I think I'd like to major in English or something along those lines.
Yeah. Well, I know quite a few editors that ended up writing their own stories. too.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, right. So tell me what you're writing now. What are you working on now? That's something that's really exciting you.
To be honest, what I do is I write like a page and then I put it to the side and never look at it again until like a month later. So I've written that kind of stuff. I've written one story about the girl in a mental hospital, but that got too complicated, so I put it to the side. I've written one about 3 best friends, but that got too complicated, put it to the side. I'm writing one about these 2 kids who they grow up and then they go back and they actually kill their bullies.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's a mystery kind of from the villain's perspective. But I put that to the side. That's too much work. I'm focusing on school right now more than anything else.
Yeah, so that was my question. You know, how do you balance all this? You know, writing and, you know, doing fun stuff with your friends and all your, you know, your classwork and that sort of thing. How do you balance all this?
Well, the thing is, when I get ideas, I know I can't like write them fully at the time and with the same focus I could have when I was 8. So I jot down like maybe a page to start it off, and then I push it to the side so that if I do want to go back and write more, then I always have like the hook that I have the idea written down. So that's how I balance that out, kind of.
And what do you like to do for fun? What's the stuff you do for fun when you're not you know, school and all that sort of thing? Besides writing, I know that's.
I read. I really don't do much else.
Oh,
I'm a very boring
a girl
person
after
inside.
but reading, girl after my own heart. That's a good thing. Good thing to do.
This is my sanction right here.
Okay, all right. Well, this section and this section on the other side of the store. So, I end these interviews with a little quiz. No pressure. Okay. It's kind of a literary quiz, so you know all the answers. So it's kind of a lightning round. Okay. No. This is easy. This is easy. You're guaranteed an A++. All right. Okay. Do you remember a book when you were really little that you absolutely loved?
The Junie B. Jones series.
Yeah, Junie B. Jones. Okay. Do you remember something when you wrote Adventure of a Lifetime? You know, that when you were in maybe 4th, 5th grade that you absolutely loved?
I liked the first line a lot because that's what stayed the whole time.
Yeah.
The first line has never changed.
Okay, that's very cool. Okay, how about something in middle school that you absolutely adore, a book that you absolutely loved?
One of the John Green, Paper Towns, was really good.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Okay, who is your favorite author right now?
Right now, I actually have like 4. Is that okay?
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, it's hard to whittle it down to 1, but yeah, give me your top 4.
It's J.K. Rowling, obviously, because Harry Potter is like a classic. John Green, because of that made me cry. Stephen Chbosky, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right.
Yes, that's right. We just had him for an event.
Oh, wow,
at the end of September. Yeah, Perks of Being a Wallflower. That
was an amazing book. And then Jay Asher, because he wrote 13 Reasons Why, and that was really good.
Good choices. Excellent choices. Okay, what author, if you could meet them, would you like to meet?
Originally, I would have said J.K. Rowling, but right now I think I would like to meet John Green because he seems like also a funny person.
He's very funny in person. Yeah. Do you watch his YouTube stuff he does with his brother?
I watched like one thing about censorship in which he was saying there's nothing wrong with it, but then they censored out the swear words he put in. So that was fun.
Yeah, right. Okay, what about a book that you could not tell enough people that they have to read? You know, that book you're an evangelist for, that you better read this or else. Yeah.
Probably the Perks of Being a Wallflower, because not a lot of people in my school have read it. My friend actually looked at the cover. She's like, "This is such a boring cover, Ravina." And I'm like, "But the story is good inside."
Well, there's the cover with the movie.
I had the one with the green cover. Which is just like there's some guy's feet in the corner, and then so it looks like a very plain cover, but also a wallflower is a very kind of plain person. So
yeah, it's such a great book. It's such a great book. Okay, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility sounds cool.
I know. I always thought that would be a good one.
I would hate mind reading though, because then like knowing what everyone's thinking about you, no, you can keep your mean comments to yourself. I really don't need to hear them.
Okay, and I think you already answered this question, but what's your favorite contemporary realistic fiction right now?
John Green, probably.
Green.
Like,
all right.
I think I mentioned his name like 7 times in this interview already.
Okay, and what are you reading right now that you're really enjoying?
Right now, I was reading the Pretty Little Liars series, but then I dropped off of that.
Okay. Yeah.
It got too complicated too.
Yeah.
Currently, I wanted to finish Looking for Alaska.
Right.
Yeah, because I actually started that, but I never finished it, so I think I'm reading that kind of right now.
What a fantastic conversation with one of our youngest authors on Authors Revealed. It's Ravina Thakkar and her book, The Adventure of a Lifetime. Thanks for joining me on Authors Revealed.